Hey guys, it's Ryan. I get asked every day how to trim my beard and how others should trim their beard. And I figure I need to trim mine today, so why not? Let's do a little video. So there are a couple of things that you're gonna need. You're gonna need a simple comb. If you have dark hair, I would suggest a light comb. If you have light colored hair, I would suggest a really dark comb. That way, when you are cutting or trimming, you can actually see exactly what you're doing. Makes sense, huh? So another couple of things you may need, just a little trimmer, something like this. It could be one that plugs in, or you could do something like this, which is a clipper. So the trimmers are tiny, the clippers are large. But you can use either or. Typically people have these around the house anyway. So whatever you choose to use is up to you. Another thing is clipper guards. So whatever you use, whether it be a clipper or a trimmer, make sure that you have a clipper guard that is sturdy. It's not coming off, it's not loose, because if it's loose when you're doing this and it pops off, you're screwed. It's getting in there. So you're gonna have a big hole in there. Another thing, I apologize about the light behind me. I tried to have some extra lighting out here, but I don't know if it's helping. Anyway, otherwise I have to wait until midnight, but I'm not doing that. So, number one, you wanna go through and you want to comb your hair down. Just comb it down. Typically, you're going to want to keep the sides tapered and keep the length in the bottom, so that way, regardless of your face shape, you have a nice straight line on the side. If you have a round face, you always need vertical lines. So by keeping the sides narrow, it's not going to make you look so heavy, which I'm clearly having an issue with. So anyway, let's get started. I'm not gonna take too much off the length. I'm actually trying to grow mine out, but I guess I can use the lighting behind me. I don't know if you see all these little fuzzies. I'm gonna basically take all of those off. And so yeah, I'm gonna start with a number 2. There are several ways you can do this. If you're afraid of everything being they're not symmetrical, it's pretty simple. You go horizontal to the floor. So if I do 2 passes over here with a trimmer, I do 2 passes over here. It's that simple. If you go vertically, it's not going to be consistent based on how you hold your trimmers, and it just makes sense the other way. It's just a lot simpler. So simple is definitely the way to go. Another thing is, do not be afraid to continuously comb your hair while you are trimming. What happens is every time you comb, you expose a couple of loose hairs. You always want to make sure that you get those. If you are not going horizontal to the floor, you're going to want to make sure that you come, I guess, let's see, sorry with the lighting. You're going to want to make sure that you come downward, and what that will do is it will trim just enough of the loose hairs, but not so much that it takes much of the length, if that makes any sense. So make sure you keep a medium guard to a lower guard on the sides, and then come down until the hair is no longer parallel to your face. Once it starts to turn like this, you're gonna have to cut it completely differently. So we'll go down like that and I'll show you. All right, so I don't know if you can see much, but I have trimmed a good bit off. So I would show you the sink, but I have my phone taped, so I can't exactly release it. So now that the sides are fairly even and you have all of the fuzzies taken off, you're gonna want to come down here and basically remove anything that is a corner. So if you're combing this down and out, you're going to see just a tiny little corner right there that prevents it from being a smooth, even line. So you can comb this down and out, and I'm taking my clipper guard or my trimmer guard off. So I'm going to comb it out and then take my comb underneath and pull it out at a corner. So basically, all I'm trimming is that little corner off. The goal when you're trimming is to basically remove the point at any time. So it's easier to try to remove a point than go in there and do this rounded thing that you're never going to be able to duplicate on the opposite side. So I'll do this over here. And there again, I don't have as much corner over here. Once again, do not be afraid to continuously comb through. Comb downward and then look in the mirror. Make sure that you've caught any corners. So when you're combing, comb it out just to see if you have any more corners. I have a tiny bit of one right here. And again over here. So what will happen is you're basically, by taking out that corner, you're blending the sides with the bottom. So then it should almost come out to a perfect point. So now as you comb it in the opposite direction a little bit. What that will also do is when you comb it back down, it will allow you to see anything else that, once again, you may have missed. So keep combing, and keep combing. So now I still see a few rogue hairs. You don't have to have your comb, but be very careful when you come in. You can just lightly freehand. So you just look in the mirror and lightly touch it. Just enough to knock off those hairs. Again, I'm gonna do it over here too. Okay, so now that I have that, that's simple. I'm also combing my mustache and goatee area towards the middle. That just helps separate the sides so I can see exactly what I'm working with. I'm looking down here now and I see yet another point. So there's nothing there, there's a lot there, and there's also a point there. Okay, so now that we have the sides blended for the most part with the bottom, I'm gonna leave the front and the bottom for the very last part. So my goal is to actually have a little bit of a handlebar. Not a full-on crazy handlebar, but that's my goal. I've never had one and I'm getting old, so I may as well do it now. But everybody asks also, how the heck do you trim your mustache without messing yourself up? So what you're gonna wanna do is you're always going to want to start in the very middle. You can use scissors like this, or you can use your smallest trimmers. If you're using scissors, you can always start in the middle and keep one of the arms, one of the parts of your scissors attached to your lip. Basically, do not lift it from your lip. If you do, you're going to cut yourself. So you just lightly trim. You're basically just moving one side of the shears. So you comb it out, you start in the middle, and you cut downward. I'm not going all the way down, but I'll do the other side. Now you turn your scissors upside down in your hands and follow the same pattern. This may be more difficult, so there again, don't be afraid to use your trimmers. I'm gonna just show you because I do this for a living, so it's not as difficult for me, even though this is not simple. But you take it, you put it upside down, keep part of the scissors on your lip, and trim. And that's it. Comb it out of your way. Some people want it very tapered. If you're using trimmers, it's that simple. Start in the middle every time. Always start in the middle. Once you start in the middle, you go side to side, just a little bit. What that does is it accommodates any accidents that you're probably going to have and prevent it from being even. So that being said, just be careful. All right, so we've got that accomplished. If you want to trim your mustache very short with a comb and a trimmer, take your comb, always comb upward, always, and always trim downward. I'm not doing that, but I want to show you, comb up, trim down. That will prevent hairs from being pulled. That will also prevent gaps. Clearly nobody wants gaps. If you aren't sure what length to have your mustache, you're gonna want to put whatever guard or whatever clipper guard that you used on the front area of your ear, you're gonna wanna do the exact same right there. That way it ties it all in, it blends it, and it puts all of the emphasis on the length in the front, not on the sides and all the weird places. So, all right, next thing. A lot of people ask me, this is probably the #1 thing I get asked, how in the world do you make sure that your neck is even and clean? All right, as I stated with your mustache, you always start in the middle. I shave my neck with a regular razor, nothing fancy. Some people use straight razors, which good luck. I'm not trying to cut myself. But anyway, I shave in the shower half the time I shave right when I get out. Comb your hair in the opposite direction. Comb it way up and out of your face. Hold your head up and look in the mirror. And when you do, start in the middle. So you start here and then you alternate sides. Otherwise, what's gonna happen, if you clean up one whole side and you're like, oh, look at this, it's so perfect, the next side is never gonna work. I promise you, it will never be perfectly symmetrical. So comb it upwards, start in the middle, alternate side to side. Hopefully that part makes sense for you. Again, I'm combing 1,002 times, just making sure that everything is even. I'm looking in the mirror. I'm using different reference points. You can use your fingers, you can use your combs, whatever. Look in the mirror, hold it up to the next side, look in the mirror, always use your mirror. Otherwise, you're just gonna mess it up. So now you know how to do the neck, you know how to do the mustache, you know how to do the chops area. Last but not least, the length. So again, I'm trying to grow my length. If you want to grow length, that's fine. If you aren't sure what you're gonna do, you better figure it out. But I'm putting a guard on this, I'm combing it down, and I'm lightly going to touch anything. When I say light, I'm gonna turn this on, and when I barely hear any hairs trimmed, then I know I can remove it, comb it back. So I'm gonna look in the mirror as I'm doing it. I barely hear some things being trimmed. All I'm doing is just enough so that it knocks down the loose hairs. I know y'all are really digging my V-neck t-shirt. Don't hate. I'm only wearing a t-shirt at all while I'm doing this because it's the stupidest thing ever. I'm only doing it so that there's a contrast so you can actually see, focus on the beard and not on my outfit. All right, I'm barely trimming anything. All right, so now that for the most part I'm trimmed, I'm cleaned up, look in the mirror once again. It does not hurt to get a little cheap, simple brush. You don't have to put oils and all this other crap in your hair. I would never recommend oils and all that until your beard is long enough to measure in inches. I'm not trying to sell crap. I'm not trying to upsell and do it. Just get a simple brush. Go to Sally's. They're like $4 or $5. Get one on Amazon. Who cares? Brush it. It feels good. That's the #1 reason I like to use mine. Also, it just makes a rough, nasty beard look less homeless. It also prevents it from itching. So I brushed this out. You see how rough that is? It's kind of nasty. Just brush it down. Anywho, it will save you a good while. It'll save you a good bit before having to feel like you have to have a haircut. But anyway, I hope this tutorial helped out. I've never really done anything like this, but hope it worked out. And let me know how it works. Thanks.